Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rant series. Today, I just wanted to talk about something that I'm going to call this video. I know I'm going to call this video, Sometimes It's Okay to Get Blocked. So, recently, I've been thinking, and, I brought this topic up a few other times, making, some rants. And this is going to be another short rant. I don't want to make it too long. I'm experimenting with short rants. But I've been thinking, and, sometimes it's okay to get blocked. Some people just aren't going to want to have a conversation with you. And you get so indulged in the conversation and you're so excited about it and you're so excited to share your thoughts and really grow with someone. And it's like online is like so accessible and everyone has phones and everyone's online and people talk to each other. And you can meet a lot of cool people. You can be in the United States like I am and talk to someone in Switzerland or some other place across the world that you never even been to. And it's just amazing what the internet can provide you. You can talk to someone from the other side of the planet without even leaving your home. It's insane. So, it's a very common thing now. And, you get so excited and so indulged in the conversation. And sometimes you don't realize that you can wake up and go to your messages or go to the contact of the person that you're talking to, and you'll see that they blocked you or they did something to make it so you can't talk to them anymore. And you don't really understand why you were blocked. And I just made a short rant not that long ago about being ghosted and my new perspective of that and how I don't really care about it anymore. But this is not really about being ghosted. Like, this is about being blocked, Like a lot of the time they'll tell you that they're going to block you. And I used to view that as a bad thing. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that sometimes the best thing someone can do is block someone. And, if you're going to say that, if you're going to say it's good to block people, then you should be prepared to get blocked yourself. And being blocked is inevitable. Sometimes people are going to block you. And, I was talking to this woman recently. She lived in Florida, and she's also from the United States as well, like me. And we were talking, and the conversations were going pretty well. And, we'd talk and stuff, and, she was pretty cool. We had some pretty good conversations. But as we started to talk, I realized that she wasn't, I don't know. I just didn't really have that good of a vibe about her. And, it was one of those feelings when I was talking to her. I just felt like she didn't really like me that much. Like, I felt the vibe of her not liking me. And, sometimes, that vibe can be misconstrued. So I don't want to draw conclusions. So I told her that. I'm like, I don't really think that you like me. And I think that you're just pretending to like me. I don't really like the vibe you give off towards me. And, I know this is about blocking, but I didn't block her because, I guess I kind of did block her in my mind because I told her that I don't want to talk anymore and I just want to move on because it's not going to work out because she had like a different communication style than me. And, but, it's kind of like the same thing because I blocked her in my mind. And it was my version of blocking her because I stopped communication with her. And that's something that I never really used to do, especially years ago. I would never really block people that I would talk to. I remember this one woman that I would talk to. I met her on this site called Omegle. And, she was like this tattooed chick. She had a bunch of tattoos and she was pretty. She was older than me. She was born in the late 80s. So she was she wasn't that much older than me. She probably had about, 5 years on me. But, she was a little older, and she was really nice. And, we talked and stuff. And, it was a very strange situation because she became very abusive and very rude and disrespectful when we would talk. And there'd be sometimes I remember like talking to her, and she would be so rude and disrespectful. And I really wouldn't stand up for myself. I really wouldn't talk back to her and have boundaries. And, I would never end up blocking her because of whatever reason. And, I decided in my life that, it's okay to block people sometimes. It's okay to have boundaries. That's another thing I've realized in life is it's okay to have boundaries with people. You have to set boundaries in life and let people know that some behavior that they do is not going to be accepted. And, sometimes when you do things like that, you're going to risk losing people, but is it really a loss if they're acting this way towards you? Are you really losing anyone of value if they're going to treat you like that? I never really told her that. And, I guess I liked talking to her and didn't want to be alone. And she even tried to leave me it was like earlier in the year. I remember she tried to leave me and say it's not going to work out. And then, later on that year, we talked again. We were kind of on and off. We talked, we stopped talking, we talked again. And like throughout our entire communication, she was kind of rude and disrespectful. We got into an argument, and there was one time where I did stand up for myself, but for the most part, talking to her, I didn't. But she ended up blocking me a couple times, and she'd block me, and then I'd reach out, we'd talk again, and then she'd block me again eventually. So she's the one who blocked me. So, it's okay that happened. It's okay that she blocked me. And it took me a long time to realize that, sometimes you don't have to reach out to people again if they block you. If they're blocking you, it's okay. It's okay. No one's what did Kevin Hart say? He said, not everyone's going to spend time with you. Not everyone's going to want to believe in you or value your time or spend time with you. And it's okay. It's okay not to be liked by everyone. Not everyone's going to want to talk to you. Not everyone's going to like you, And that's something that I never really understood, because when this happened, I was 23, 24, 25. And, that was a long time ago. And I'm almost 31 years old. So a lot of time has passed, and my mindset has really changed since then. So it's been incredible how much I've grown as a person and realized that boundaries are very important as a society. You have to have boundaries. And like I said, sometimes people are going to block you, it's okay. But you have to have boundaries. And sometimes you're going to lose these people. But again, it's not really a loss if these people are disrespectful and rude. You're not really losing anything. It may seem like that because you don't want to be alone and you'll have to find a new friend to talk to. But in the long run, it's going to be better for your mental health. You don't want to be around people who are going to be disrespectful like that and treat you like shit and treat you like you're not a human being. It may seem like it's going to hurt because you're going to have to find a new friend, like I said, but in the long run, it's worth it. You have to take care of yourself. You have to have boundaries. You have to set boundaries. You have to let people know that their behavior is not acceptable, and you'll have to cease communications with them if they continue the behavior. So she ended up blocking me, and like I said, and I never actually got to block her and tell her that her behavior is unacceptable. I think I remember there was one time, one of the last times I ever talked to her, I was telling her that she's super fucking rude and she's being disrespectful, but I never blocked her. She blocked me eventually. This is right before coronavirus. So I have no idea, but this is when I was in my early to mid 20s again. So I didn't really know much back then about, friends and, like standing up for myself and having boundaries and stuff like that. Back then, I was really afraid to be alone. It's so funny how I said this is going to be a short rant and then it ends up being over 10 minutes long. That's what happens with rants. Sometimes it lasts longer than you said it was going to be. But I'm going to keep this rant up right now. But it's just, it's so crazy because, like I said, this is my early 20s and, a lot's happened since then, and I have a different mindset. And, she ended up blocking me, and it was okay. It's okay that happened. And I remember when it first happened, I was really upset about it. And, I was upset about it for a while because there were times when we did get along and we actually liked talking to each other. But, over the course of the entire communication I had with her, she was very disrespectful and rude. And, I should have nipped that right in the butt before, but I didn't. But, like I was saying earlier before I interrupt myself because I made this too long, I was always afraid in my early to mid 20s of being alone. Like I would put up with abusive behavior because I was afraid that would lead to me being alone. And, I'd rather just put up with that than be alone. But I realized that, I've been alone for long periods of my life, especially with making new friends online and stuff. Like I'll go months and months alone and having no one to talk to. So I don't need anybody, like my mindset, has changed to the fact that I don't need anybody to be happy. I don't need friends to like not feel alone. I've been alone for a very long time. And, like you'll go through periods where sometimes you don't talk to a lot of people. And I'm used to that. Like when people say COVID really affected them emotionally and mentally because it made them feel so alone, I'm always alone in my room. Like I've been alone for years. That never really bothered me. It was just like another day for me during COVID, and it really affects some people because they're lonely. So I feel like I have an advantage over that because I don't let loneliness affect me. And that's a mindset that I had to grow over time because I never really used to think like that. I was always so afraid, like I said, of losing people. So I'd put up with abusive behavior and toxic behavior. So it's so important to have boundaries. Like I said, you have to have boundaries in life. If you have boundaries, then people are just going to walk all over you. And, it's okay to be blocked. It's okay to block people. And you have to set boundaries because, again, people will walk all over you if you don't set boundaries. And, going into my 30s now, I'm trying to have a new perspective on life. And I am having a new perspective on life, and that is I'm not going to let people walk all over me and disrespect me. If I feel like someone's being disrespectful, if someone is being rude to me, or like I said with that woman not that long ago where I felt the vibe was off, I'm going to let them know that the vibe was off, in my opinion, and then we can talk about it and come to a conclusion. I'm not going to hold my tongue and try not to lose somebody because I'm afraid if I bring it up, I'll lose them. I'm going to tell them how I feel. And, if they actually care about me and they actually care about like talking to me and valuing like our conversations and not losing me, then, if they're worth a damn, as the saying is, then they'll stop their behavior or they'll try to analyze their behavior and see where they went wrong and try to correct it. But if they don't correct it and they don't see themselves as doing anything wrong, then they're probably going to keep it up. And then I'm just going to block them. I'm going to tell them that I want to talk and block them. So, that's my mindset going into life as, going into my 30s. I spent an entire decade in my 20s being afraid of losing people and fearing losing people and putting up with toxic behavior, like I said. Now in my 30s, I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm fucking losing people and blocking people if they disrespect me because life's too fucking short to deal with bullshit like that. And I realized that in my 30s. I realized that I'm becoming a lot stricter with people and what I don't want in life. and I'm going to focus on what I do want in life, and I'm not going to waste it on bullshit and negativity. I've already talked about how I don't want to deal with negativity anymore, especially as you get older. You just don't give a fuck. You don't want to deal with negativity and bullshit and people's irrelevant opinions and all this fucking drama, bullshit, nonsense. And that's mostly what the internet is. And I'm quick to block a motherfucker. So, that's my mindset now. And, it's a really beautiful thing to have because, oh God, the internet will eat you alive if you're not careful. People's opinions on there will eat you alive if you value the opinions of other people too much. But, it's a thing to balance because maybe some people on the internet are trying to help you and they're trying to give you critical, is it critical thinking or advice? No, critical advice or what the fuck it's called. No, constructive criticism. That's what it's called. Maybe they're trying to give you constructive criticism and you can think about it critically. That's what I was trying to say. Critical thinking. You can think about it critically and, and just because someone does that, it doesn't mean that you have to apply what they're saying. It's just an idea. But sometimes it's all about like how you approach things, If you approach somebody and you say something and you're very respectful about it and you like word it the correct way, then people are more likely to listen. But, some people just... Like, I'll give you an example. Like, this rant's going all over the place. It was about that. Now it's about this internet in general, but whatever. If you don't want to listen, you can just click off or whatever. I'm not going to tippy-toe around people. It's my channel. I'll rant about whatever I want and make them fucking an hour if I want. But anyways, some people can come at you and pretend to be respectful and nice. Like when they bring up my weight, I know that they're saying it to be sarcastic and they're not trying to actually help me. They're bringing it up to try to use it against me. And like they're trying to do it in a way that's manipulative. Like they're trying to act like they care, but they're using it as a way to attack me. It's a very manipulative thing. And I don't understand why bringing up my weight has anything to do with who I am as a person. My weight doesn't affect my character as a human being. My choices I make in life to eat food is my choices. And my weight doesn't affect how I treat other people. It doesn't affect my character. And, it's just, there's a lot of negativity on the internet. And, basically, I'm just tired of the bullshit and the nonsense, and I'm going to have more boundaries. It all ties in, Going to have my boundaries, and, and that's another point. It's come to the point where if someone is insulting me or trying to bring up my weight or any of these frivolous things and trying to talk about my appearance, and it's just really fucking stupid, and I can see that the conversation's not going anywhere, then I'll block their ass. It's fun. It's fucking fun to block people. So, a lot of the time people just like to argue like fucking middle schoolers or like elementary schoolers, and they bring up shit that adults shouldn't bring up. And it's just a waste of your time to argue back and forth. Because, I used to be one of those people that would argue back and forth with these fuckers. And, we'd go back and forth with different insults about how you're not overweight. And then, oh, yes, you're overweight. And then it just goes back and forth and nothing really gets solved. So this all ties into the having boundaries thing, because having boundaries means you block them and get rid of the negativity. So, because like I said, I used to go back and forth with these fucks, and nothing really came out of that was positive. They still believe what they believed, and they're probably just fucking around and joking, because a lot of people just do that on the internet because they're bored. But it doesn't really matter. I've had thousands and thousands of arguments on the internet with people, and I'm still who I am, and they're probably still who they are. Maybe they've evolved a little bit, but people are who they are, and you're not going to change like the what's the word? Yeah, fundamental. You're not going to change the fundamental. That's a fucking tongue twister to say. You're not going to change the fundamental beliefs of people. If someone believes in like a certain religion, or someone believes in veganism, or any of these really like a hardcore core values, like very serious things that are deep in someone's psyche, like very serious like beliefs like that, you're not going to change them. And like that's why I was arguing with this one chick not that long ago, and I told her, what's the point? You're still going to think what you think even after I say what I say. So my rebuttal is of no like relevance. I don't understand why you want me to like argue with you about this. So that's another thing I'm trying not to do, is argue, and that's having strong boundaries, because arguing is pretty much pointless most of the time. It can be fun sometimes to like let your opinion be heard and having a conversation, but I feel like sometimes when people talk and they're exchanging ideas, sometimes it can come off as having an argument, but sometimes it's just maybe just a heated discussion, or maybe like an aggressive conversation. I wouldn't call it an argument. Like, just because you disagree with someone doesn't make it an argument. And that's usually what an argument is. It's people talking and disagreeing. You can have a civil discourse and disagree and talk and be mature about it. It doesn't always have to be an argument. That's just a very negative way to think about it. I watched a podcast where this man and this woman were talking about politics and life in America and different things and stuff, and they pretty much disagreed on absolutely everything, but they were respectful and they had a civil conversation about it, and they didn't insult one another, and they were respectful about it. I wouldn't consider that an argument just because they disagreed on everything. I consider that a conversation where two human beings disagree with one another. But, I went off on a tangent a little bit about different things, but, it's great about having a Rant channel, because you can do whatever the fuck you want and talk about whatever the fuck you want. And people don't have to listen, If you listened this far at 22 minutes and you think that this rant was retarded, then you're the one to blame. Like, you listened for 22 minutes and you're gonna call it stupid. Oh my God, like, no one forced you to listen to this shit. That's another thing. Fuck it, we're gonna go to 25 minutes, because that's another thing I've been like noticing about people is they like will like do something, drink something or watch something or respond to someone or whatever it is, like within their own volition. Like, they'll like, no one forced them to do something, and then they'll blame the other person. Like, I didn't force you to do this. I didn't force you to talk to me. Like, people just refuse to take responsibility for their own actions. But the rant is long enough. We'll keep it now. Thank you for listening, and have a good one. And I'll make more videos soon. Thank you for listening again.